What's going on, everyone? Today we have the RX 9070 XT. We're going to be checking it out in Cronos. Of course, we've got it paired with a 14600K and 32 gigs of RAM. So as usual, we're going to be going through all the different settings layer by layer to see what you can expect from this card. And we're not overclocking anything, and all the drivers are up to date with out-of-the-box settings. With all that out of the way, please consider subscribing if you're new. If you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate it. Let's jump into the game. So right here we are at 108 FPS on medium settings. Everything looks pretty good. No ray tracing, no upscaling. And for the most part, we are going to be just running through the different resolutions. 1440, then we'll jump to 4K and see what it takes to get this to run at a good, stable frame rate. All right, so now let's just jump over to the very next setting here, which would be high. Let's just see what this does. So we're not doing any upscaling. Because we are not doing any ray tracing either. So this gives us about an 87, 90 FPS experience here. It looks pretty good though. I mean, we're at 9.6 gigs of allocated VRAM. So we're not anywhere near our 16 on this card. And we're at 93 FPS. Now our 1% lows are, you know, they're good. They're above 60, which is nice. PCL up there in the top right, that's at 47 milliseconds. So everything looks really good, nice and sharp, and looks great. Playing really well here on the high setting. Let's just jump over to Epic and see what that does, because once we introduce ray tracing, it's probably going to take a pretty good hit. So let's just see what it looks like without any ray tracing. That's 79 FPS or so. All right, 10.7 gigs on our allocated VRAM. And then after this, we're going to kick on some ray tracing and see just what the AMD side can handle. Typically, ray tracing is not an AMD strong suit, but hopefully we'll be able to kick it on and use some upscaling to get our performance back up. So yeah, at 80 FPS, 73 FPS, this is looking pretty promising. On Epic settings with no ray tracing, you don't even need upscaling. So that's a good sign. All right, let's kick on some ray tracing and give it a minute. It kind of thinks about it for a little bit. And that drops us down to 66 FPS. So we are still at a playable 66 FPS. We are utilizing, we got a bad freeze right there though. Whew, that was pretty rough. Let's give it a second to catch up here. But yeah, that's, we're utilizing 8 gigs. We're allocating 10.1. Oh, that's another big stutter. Okay, so it looks like maybe ray tracing on this card is causing it to have some pretty hard stops. I mean, pretty very jarring frame graph stutters here. All right, so anyway, let's just keep going. Maybe that was a one-off thing since I've changed settings, but who knows. All right, so let's see. So ray tracing is at 60. What if we came in and did a little bit of upscaling just to get that up a little bit more? We're going to kick on FSR, and we're going to go down to quality. All right, so FSR quality, no frame generation at the moment. So let's see what that does. So we won't do frame generation, and we're going to see what quality FSR gives us. All right, so that gives us a little bit of a break on our VRAM, gets us back up to about 87, 89 FPS. With that ray tracing turned on, this is a great experience. Our PCL is at 51 milliseconds, 48 milliseconds. So very acceptable latency on this game, especially with the controller. This is going to feel pretty good at 92 FPS. So definitely not a bad card at all. It seems like those snags were likely just because I'm changing settings. It's like trying to load in assets that it didn't previously have loaded in under some of the high or medium. So it just kind of depends on where you're at. So I'm not going to fault it for that. I think that was just kind of a one-off thing. As I say that, every time I say it, it speaks it into existence. Okay, never mind. It definitely hangs up here and there, on these higher settings, especially with, I think it's just ray tracing. I think ray tracing is the one that is doing it. So I'm going to completely go 180 on my theory. I think ray tracing is what is causing some of these hard snags, unfortunately. All right, so with quality FSR turned on, we can now activate our frame generation. So let's do that. Frame generate away. Let's see how high we can get this thing. All right, so that's 147, 156 FPS. VRAM allocation looks really good. So I'm going to say this is an absolute yes on this card at 1440p. Now we're going to jump over to 4K. For some reason, my PCL has gone. You know, it's vanished. So we shall see if that'll come back once we jump over and turn off the frame gen. But yeah, let's come down here and go to settings and kick on some 4K goodness. Turn off the ray tracing, of course. We're going to turn off the frame generation. We're going to leave it on medium, and we're going to turn this back off. So no upscaling, go back to medium, no ray tracing, no frame generation. Medium at 4K, you're looking at 55 FPS. Using a little bit more VRAM makes sense. Your higher resolution, so that's completely understandable. 12.4 gigs of allocated VRAM using 9.9. We're at 55 FPS. So I would think that to move on, we would need to go to a quality upscale in order to maintain a good FPS. So we're going to turn that up to quality. So all we did was a quality upscale, no frame gen, no ray tracing at 4K, and then we're going to go up to high. All right, so high does look like it would require some upscaling to at least quality, which is perfectly fine. It looks totally normal, super sharp. Quality DLSS on 4K is like native to me. I mean, it looks just as good. It even sharpens it up a little bit, so sometimes it even looks better. All right, so yeah, we're looking at 73 FPS here. Got a little break on our VRAM, back down to 11.4. All right, so let's just come over here and turn on Epic settings. So go down here, no ray tracing right now, Epic settings, and now on 4K we can go down to performance, and it still look really nice. All right, so that gives us 70 FPS or so right here without any ray tracing. So this would be a good setting if you don't care about ray tracing. You know, Epic settings at 4K with a quality upscale wouldn't be bad at all. Our PCL is at 68 milliseconds, so that's good. All right, so what about ray tracing? Let's answer that question. So turn on ray tracing, leave nothing else adjusted. Let's just see what it does when you turn on straight ray tracing. Still at 54 FPS. So I'm thinking, or 58 FPS. I'm thinking a balanced upscale would get you over that 60 FPS hump, although it still looks and plays fine at 54 FPS. This is not a fast game at all. So you'd be able to do it. PCL will come down if we upscale, so that's something to keep in mind. It's currently at 80, which is a little on the higher side of what I would maybe tolerate on a mouse and keyboard. On a controller, it feels okay though. All right, so let's just come down here and check it out. Let's see. Let's go to balanced. So this is balanced. Nothing else has been changed. And that gives us 64 FPS. PCL's at 70, so it's come down a little bit because that background resolution has reduced. So it's going to be able to generate more real frames, which is all we're seeing here. We're not doing any frame generation. So it's going to be able to generate real frames and gives us a PCL of 70 milliseconds. All right. So really, right here, you've got enough VRAM to just, you know, frame generate away all you wanted to. So let's do that. Let's come down here and check out what, well, first let's go to performance just to get that out of the way because I know people are wondering. All right, so 80 FPS. There you go. There's your answer. 80 FPS on performance, 57 on the PCL, 57 milliseconds. Full ray tracing and quality, or the upscaler is set to performance. All right, we're not doing any frame gen. So let's come in here. Let's go back up to balanced. Let's turn on frame gen, go back up to balanced. All right, so this would be balanced. This would be basically where I would play it with frame generation. PCL has gone away because we're doing frame generation, but it was under control. Yeah, we're at 120 FPS using about 12 gigs of VRAM, and everything looks just absolutely perfectly fine with this card. So 1440 more than doable, 4K more than doable with a few small concessions by going up to a performance upscale, which at 4K looks still very good. And if you wanted to frame generate, you got plenty of VRAM left over to do so. So with all that out of the way, if you're brand new here, please consider subscribing. We would love to have you hang out in our little corner of YouTube. And if you're not new here, welcome back. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. Thanks for hanging out, and we will see you in the very next one. Peace.